Welcome to this look at some of the design choices and directions in Blizzard's newest and onlyest FPS title, Overwatch. In the last Overwatch video, I talked about its position relative to the established FPS games that we know and sometimes love. But today I wanted to look at a topic that touches many games, but that resonates especially loudly in titles such as Overwatch, its support play, or specifically in this case, the hero, Mercy. For those new to the game, Mercy can best be described as the outer edge of character design in terms of support. No other character in the game is as focused at support as this bewinged German medic. Her normal left click heals at a steady if unspectacular rate, while her right click boosts the damage output of her companion. However, her main claim to fame, and the reason for her almost ubiquitous selection in competitive situations, is her ultimate, or Q, which revives dead teammates at full health, a near essential tool for winning matches if there ever was one. So popular was this ability that in this second iteration of Overwatch closed beta, they reduced her ult's effectiveness by limiting the range at which it could operate. Originally, it was map-wide. This argument about how effective an ability is, or how much it's valued by competitive teams, ignores a key part of the experience that 99% of people playing the game will have, and that's enjoyment. That's why I decided to look at this side of games design in this video. For all her utility and ability, I just don't think Mercy is that enjoyable to play. I guess a small amount of background might help if I say that I tend to enjoy support play in other titles. In PlanetSide 2, I believe I had the top number of revives at one point. In Dirty Bomb, I tend to be a medic class. I can enjoy being that kind of midfield general, helping to sculpt how a team performs and supporting the cutting edges that the teammates wield. Before I played Overwatch, I had imagined that I might main Mercy, but it's after a significant number of hours that I believe there is still much to do, both to her abilities and how the game treats support players in a wider sense. So the first thing you learn while playing Mercy is that she's a reflection of the person she is healing. If she's with a tank, her movement is constrained and limited to their areas and their tempo. Only when she pairs with someone like Pharah does she take to the skies and finally has opportunity to use those magnificent wings. It's when your healing partner dies, and in general public solo games this is normally due to a lack of communication or coordination, it's then that you finally see Mercy as she really is. Without a healing partner in range, she becomes a slow, ground-dwelling, fragile character. She has a sidearm of decent power, but it's of the slow projectile variety, so you don't tend to use it much, and as many downward spirals operate, that means that you don't accumulate experience enough to perhaps wield it more effectively too. Of all the medics in the game, she relies most heavily on communication and teamwork to avoid feeling impotent and frustrated in a match. Other support heroes such as Lucio and Symmetra have their means to help the team, but only Mercy seems to trade that for a sort of enforced symbiotic relationship with her partner. As Lucio, you might throw some damage. As Zenyatta, you might debuff and catch a kill or two. As Mercy, you tend to hold on tight and not let go. I'm not for 1 second saying that there isn't skill in playing Mercy. I'm not saying that you can't tell the difference between a good and bad Mercy player. You absolutely can. Just that her incredibly support-focused design leads to a very specific and, dare I say it, at times dull and rewarding playstyle. I know ultimately this feeling is somewhat subjective, but linked to frustration you may feel from playing with teammates that don't understand or care to coordinate properly, the whole experience of playing Mercy can sometimes feel like something of a chore. And when suddenly you're left on your own in a tough part of the map, then you're also alone with that focus of the character design. All the pin-sharp aim accuracy in the world won't stop the enemy from clipping those beautiful wings. To compound these issues is a larger point about how the game seems to value support players. Play of the game screens are often filled with gut-wrenching kill streaks and other valiant feats of daring do. But where is the recognition that none of that happens without teamwork and support? These are generally not plays made in isolation. The final score and displayed highlight cards are often filled with damage stats, but the balance between all the classes still seems uneven. If you were a Symmetra with your 6 turret eliminations, then probably they weren't as pivotal as the teleporter that you had active for the vast majority of the game. These are the acts that facilitate the glossy headlines generated by Assault and tank heroes. I understand that core mechanics such as hero swapping is meant to balance many sides of these issues, but it seems inescapable that people will tend to gravitate towards a certain set of characters that suit them best. To have any of them compromised to a degree that the experience seems to play second fiddle to their match impact, then something starts to feel amiss. This isn't all negativity though. In fact, the position that Blizzard seems to be taking with the Overwatch beta gives hope. The dev team seems open to actively trying, and if needs be, rescinding, changes that are made as part of testing how the game operates and feels. So what would I change about Mercy? Well, I'm not advocating changing her design as the most support-focused of the support heroes. I think that tweaks to her current setup would help a lot with the player experience of using Mercy. First of all, I'd add another option for player skill to impact her effectiveness. I'd change her current projectile-based sidearm to a semi-auto hit-scan pistol. In fact, the model in game doesn't need to change at all. I give it middling damage, but with a large headshot multiplier. I'd also give it significant drop-off. This isn't a weapon for projecting damage, it's all about defending yourself. If you use it skillfully, then you might just survive. For a lack of mobility, I'd like the devs to look at an idea that a friend and fellow YouTuber, Pixel Twitch, and I discussed. It'd effectively be a flee mechanic to use as a last resort if you find yourself stranded. A Phoenix Rising dash into the air would be ideal, allowing Mercy to perhaps clear nearby obstacles and then glide to safety. Perhaps it might even do some fire AoE damage as she takes off. Given a sizable cooldown, I think it could eliminate a lot of the frustration without giving Mercy undue ability. These are all just ideas though. In fact, perhaps you think Mercy is ideal as she is. If so, then I'd love to hear what you think. Just leave a message right now in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, why not thumb up and hit that subscribe button, it helps me out a lot. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at LCTRGames. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.